Greetings, book lovers everywhere. I'm E-Train and welcome to E-Train Talks. Today, I'm so excited to be talking to Brian Floriani. He is a literacy advocate champion. He's the founder of Bernie's Book Bank and FReadom USA. I'm especially excited and proud to be speaking to him because he's not just the founder of one literacy organization, he is the founder of two phenomenal organizations. And also because Brian is on the amazing quest to ensure books and literacy are available for all. Brian, with his entrepreneurial spirit and desire to, simply put, do good, has started not one but two organizations whose missions have everything to do with books, reading, and providing opportunities for kids to read their way to a better life. Bernie's Book Bank was established in 2009, serving kids all across Chicagoland, spreading the joy of reading. Each year, Bernie's Book Bank sees exponential growth. Just last year alone, in 2021, they distributed over 1.6 million books, and they're still going strong. FReadom USA, which Brian founded in 2021, is a popular nonprofit clothing brand, selling everything from backpacks, books, t-shirts, bracelets, and more, with all profits being directed to literacy for all. I'm so grateful for all that you're doing to end book deserts, Brian. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a real.
Thanks for having me. If I can make just one clarification, it's hard to believe that a for-profit would give away 100% of its profit, but that's what we are. So just to be for full transparency, Bernie's Book Bank is a nonprofit. FReadom is a for-profit that gives away 100% of its profit.
Oh.
So it's a nonprofit in a different kind of way, because obviously we're not keeping any of the profit. So, but thanks for having me, E-Train.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And to start off our interview, I was wondering if you could share a bit about how Bernie's Book Bank and FReadom came to be.
Yeah, well, I'll try to keep it short. You can imagine it could be a long story. As I kind of kidly say, I'm a recovering golf professional with an entomology degree, which means I don't know how much I know about anything E-Train, but I know what my purpose is in life. And my purpose in life is to make sure that we have literacy for all, especially in America. And Bernie's Book Bank started when my father, Bernie Floriani Sr., passed away on the same day that my grandmother passed away, almost 17 years ago. And that's when I was in the golf business. I used to run golf schools for Golf Digest. And at that time, I was in Lake Tahoe in the summer. And, that was you can imagine it was a pretty emotional time in my life. And after giving the eulogy for both of my father and my grandmother on the same day, it made me really reflect on my life. And what I realized when I was talking about them is that I was talking about their significance, not their success. Success being defined as your accomplishments or your personal accomplishments, and significance being the accomplishments of other people. And what it did was left me asking myself three questions. If I were to die today, would anybody have anything to say about me? Would it be true? And three, would it matter? And I didn't really like the answers to those questions. And that led me on a deep spiritual dive, and came out the back end of that with one word in mind, and that was servant. And after spending a couple years in a school as a reading paraprofessional, really realized that literacy was my calling, that if you could have a major impact on America and the world, the biggest lever to do that is to making sure that all children are reading ready, and that all people are literacy proficient, because I don't think you'll argue with me. Reading is the most important skill any of us will ever have. But specific to that experience, what I saw were eager children who wanted to be readers. They were being encouraged to go home and read. They wanted to, but we were sending them home knowing there was no books in the home, sending them home, asking them to read, knowing nobody was taking them to the library. It really doesn't matter why, it just wasn't happening. We were asking them to go home and read, knowing in our own school where I was working, you could check books out from the library, but you couldn't take them home. And so what I saw as a solution was teachers lined up at the copying machine, copying off literature, stapling it together, giving it to children, and thinking that was going to encourage them to read. And as I reflected on how I was brought up as a reader, that's not how it goes. You know, if you look at your shelf in your room there, it's filled with books, and that's how we make readers. And so, you know, following that, I wanted to see if there are any models out there that, to me, were solving the problem in a sustainable way. And there's a lot of incredible efforts out there. I think all of our hearts are in the right place, but we need a solution that's effective, efficient, sustainable, and scalable. Very, very similar to how Feeding America works with food. We need something like that in America. And so 12 years ago in my garage, we started Bernie's Book Bank, and it was very clear what we wanted to do. We wanted to build an American institution that we could replicate in every major city in the country. Because book ownership in America should never be a reason why anybody's not reading ready or reading proficient. There's a lot of other variables that might contribute to that, but we can control for that one. And we need to be doing everything we possibly can to solve that problem, and to make sure that we're giving literacy a fair shot in our country. I call it sealing the deal. So that was Bernie's Book Bank. It's been an incredible journey. But that uncovered another issue, and that was the issue of philanthropic giving and the nature of it, and then the future of it. And the nature of it is, people are super charitable, but it's also pretty fickle. You don't know what you're going to get from one year to the next, and when you're building a business, that's a really hard way to budget. Yeah. And then from a giving standpoint in the future, a lot, the writing's on the wall. Philanthropic giving has been 2% of the GDP forever. It's probably never going to change. Less people are giving. Millennials, Gen Zers, Gen Xers are giving in a different way. The concentration of wealth in America has never been higher, and so that's a little discouraging. It's going to become a problem. And as I looked at the book bank, it's funded completely with charitable donations. And when we started the book bank on my credit card for $5,000, we now have a $4 million budget, which would seem like we're being very successful. But I think that we need more funding to get the scale, and then we need funding that we can rely on. So that's kind of the bad news. The good news is what we have in America is what I would call the advent of the fact that consumerism is becoming activism. Consumers are asking more of the companies they work for, more of the companies they purchase from. In fact, 62% of purchases made today are made with purpose in mind, which then uncovered an opportunity. I thought that literacy was important enough to have its own brand. And so we launched FReadom actually in 2020. Started off, our first business unit was a lifestyle brand, which you can see on our website at freedomusa.com. We launched our second business unit about a month ago, which is a promotional products business. But the key to FReadom is we give away 100% of our profit. And our goal is to give away $100 million a year, which I don't say flippantly. That's a big deal. But essentially means we got to build a $300 million a year company. And I think that literacy is worth the fight. It's worth what it's going to take to make it happen. And so, we at FReadom and I know at Bernie's Book Bank, we're just grateful to be doing something on a daily basis that has purpose.
That's such a meaningful philosophy. And while there isn't nearly enough funding and just organizations fighting for literacy for all, you at Bernie's Book Bank and Freedom USA, you're doing something, and you're making a big impact while others may not be making a big enough impact. So I know that so many in Chicagoland and all over the country are so thankful for all that you're doing to promote literacy and just like fight for freedom, not at like freedom with read. And I think that that's just so awesome. And I'm just so grateful. And I can't wait for what's next with FReadom and Bernie's Book Bank, because there's nowhere to go but up. And I know that once COVID gets a little bit better, once everything kind of gets into motion and FReadom starts taking off, because I know it will, just started in 2020, I know that you're going to be making an even bigger impact. And Well, my next question is related to Bernie's Book Bank. So how do you collect so many books for your book drives?
Well, one, I think it's ambition, number one. But I think we've created a model that is trying to leverage, whether it's used books or new books, um, leverage the opportunity for people that have books and are done with them and need a good place, place that is trusted, that they know, knows what to do with those. But it's also been a matter of developing deep relationships with any player in the publishing world, whether it be a printer, a distributor, a publisher. And I'm pleased to say that, people working in the book world, the literacy world, really care about their product. They care about literacy. And so I felt like we've continued to build a coalition of people who are thinking big, not afraid of big vision, not afraid of doing hard things. And so we really collect books in 5 ways. There's passive collecting, people know we exist. We have convenient drop-off locations for them. That's number one. Number two, we conduct very large, what we call active book drives. So we'll help facilitate book drives for corporations and school districts and folks that have books. The key there being, meaning we're their logistical partner so that we take care of all the hard work of on the logistics side and giving them the opportunity of having fun in collecting books, because collecting books is fun, but behind the scenes, books are heavy and it takes a lot to move, right? Thirdly, because of the generosity of many publishers throughout the country, we get large donations of books that are being passed along by publishers and distributors in terms of hurts and remainders, and books that they're just ready to pass along to make room for their front list titles. Fourth, we're now buying books in the remainder markets when the price is right and the demand is up on the Bernie's Book Bank side for certain kinds of content. And fifth, now we're printing books along with publishers. Meaning that the publisher will reach out with a list of titles that they're about to go to print with, and they give us the opportunity to tack onto that print run for pennies on the dollar. I think the key to Bernie's Book Bank is the fact that we try to build a model that's effective, efficient, scalable, and sustainable. And with regards to efficiency, we do it all for less than $1 a book, all in. And I think your listeners will agree that you can't buy a book at a garage sale for $1, let alone how do you have to drive to the place you're getting them and then drive back, and especially with the gas prices today, it's not cheap. So those are the main ways that we acquire those books, but it takes a good amount of infrastructure. I mean, we work out of a 65,000 square foot facility. We have a fleet of trucks that we use on the acquisition side and the distribution side. We've just committed to defining what excellence looks like in terms of the book distribution and book distribution efforts, and kind of work our way backwards, keeping one person in mind. And our client is the child that wants to read their way to a better life. And so that's who we work for.
Wow. So it's really a very long but also meaningful process. You get in contact with publishers, printers, you have fleets of trucks. And your hard work is really paying off because so many books are being distributed. And I know that a lot of people are benefiting from your philosophy and strategy of Bernie's Book Bank and now Freedom USA. So you hand deliver the novels for less than $1. And like you said, you can't find books that cheap at garage sales and other literacy organizations as well. So it's just incredible what you're doing. And that leads me to my next question. What are some literacy organizations that you partner with and support?
On the Bernie's Book Bank side or the Freedom side?
Well, both.
Okay. Well, on the Bernie's Book Bank side, the way that we distribute is primarily through WIC facilities, which is women, infant, children. So that's how we get to the 0 to 5-year-olds primarily. And then we get to the school-age children through schools based on their free and reduced lunch rate and or their Title I status. So it's really about partnering with folks who are on the ground level doing the hard work, and making sure that we're supporting them with the lifeblood lifeblood of learning and reading, which are books, to make sure that we take that burden off of them, so that they can focus on whether it's prevention, intervention, literacy curriculum in the schools, whatever it may be. There's a lot of incredible work being done, but what the void that needs to be filled, or what you talk about in terms of ending book deserts, we need to saturate those book deserts with good quality books to assure that wherever the instruction is going on, we know that there's good quality books there to be read. On the Freedom side, because we give money away to literacy organizations, we're focused on bold literacy initiatives who have an appetite to scale, that operate like a business and think like a brand, that believe in their mission so much that they have a compensation philosophy for their employees that matches that ambition, and really organizations that we feel have the guts to get literacy across the finish line, and to resolve an issue that's been going on for way too long. That one, in terms of literacy, is critical to a pursuit of happiness in a country that guarantees one. But also, if we were to make a 1% increase in literacy throughout the country, we'd see a over 200 billion positive impact to the American economy. So, I think we need to be bolder in the literacy world and making sure that everyone understands, look, if they're not emotional about this, then let's be practical about it, because it impacts all of us. And so with regards to the organizations that we're currently supporting, Bernie's Book Bank is one of them. Little Free Libraries, their impact libraries is one of them. Reading Partners, which is an awesome volunteer-based intervention program throughout the country. And then Read Alliance is another organization that we currently support in New York City. The idea with this is to take proven concepts and to get them to scale quicker.
Once you receive donated novels, what's the process like to get them in the hands of readers?
So at the book bank, how we process those books and get them ready for distribution is a really important part of what we do, and but it's pretty labor intensive, especially on the used book side, because we want to assure that the children we're serving are getting good quality, high content books, and furthermore, books that act as mirrors and windows for the children we serve. And what we mean by that, and that's a term you've probably heard before, but as your audience is listening, we want to make sure that we're distributing books that children see themselves in, and that they see others through. And that's really, really critical, because as we all know, if readers can't identify or relate to the story, or to see themselves in the story, they're probably not going to be interested in the story. And so that's really important. So used books at Bernie's Book Bank goes through a 3-sort process to make sure that the books that are coming out are high quality in content and condition. New books, those come in all kinds of shapes and sizes, whether it's coming directly from a publisher or through a distributor. Our job there is a little bit easier because we're already provided the metadata. We already know what's coming in on the shipment and what grade level they are and what content we're receiving. So that goes pretty quickly. But at the book bank, we have about 50,000 different volunteer visitors that come to the facility every year. We're really proud of the fact that we take all ages and abilities. And you know what, E-Train, it really takes a village, and you're part of that village, and there's a lot of players on that team and in that family, and it requires all of us to do it. And so I've just been amazed over the years of watching thousands of people engage that really care, and continue to be engaged and to support us even through the pandemic, because if it was bad before the pandemic, it just got worse for the children we serve. And our supporters and our volunteers and our team members, our board members, they recognize that, and instead of backing away in fear, we leaned in with courage.
So is there one question that you wish more people would ask you about your businesses, about Freedom and Bernie's Book Bank?
Yeah, I've thought about that a lot, E-Train, and there's probably a bunch I could come up with, but I would say more, it's it's not. I think that the question I'm going to give you is more indicative of just the work we need to do to create awareness just around philanthropy in general. And the question I get asked a lot, and a lot of the team members at Bernie's Book Bank gets asked a lot, is what do we do for our real job? And look, I don't get too cynical about that question. It's just because these are people that aren't, they don't live our life every day in the philanthropic world, and they don't understand just because it's a tax designation of a nonprofit that you're not running like a business and you have expenses. And one of those is personnel, which I believe is our most important asset. People are so important. You need people of all different backgrounds with all different skill sets working together towards one common cause. And it's super hard work. We employ 37 people at the book bank, all doing things from driving trucks to working with volunteers to marketing to data management. And I look at it way more than a job. It's my life's work. It's an honor. It's a privilege. But if there's one question that I wish I could clear up for the world, it would be that one. Because I think it talks to the work we still have to do from a nonprofit sector to continue to garnish respect and understanding about what we do on a daily basis. I just want to say one thing about this. Anybody that works in the nonprofit sector, we're being asked to solve some of the biggest problems in the world with the least amount of money, least amount of time, least amount of talent, and for goodness sakes, don't take any risk. And that's a hard task to achieve. And so I think if we bring more awareness to the work that's being done, the progress being made, we'll continue to garnish the credibility we need to gain the support we need to help the people we want to help.
Well, that's such a great answer, I really got to say. And my next question is, what are some literacy events or projects we can look forward to from Bernie's Book Bank and Freedom USA?
Yeah, well, Bernie's Book Bank, we're in a fun time. 2020 was supposed to be earmarked as a year we were going to start to do a listening tour throughout the country, and by the end of the year, name a few cities that we were going to start to replicate in. In fact, the week before the pandemic, I was in Atlanta having meetings, and it was really refreshing and transformational with regards to their appetite for something like a book bank in Atlanta. We were raring to go. I got on the plane so pumped up, and when I got off the plane, everything had changed. So 2022 is about getting back on that horse. Mm-hmm. It's a really exciting time from that perspective, because I think we've built a model and a reputation that is now going to be something that as we introduce this to people throughout the country, they're going to be interested in getting involved. So that's on the Bernie's Book Bank side. On the Freedom side, Freedom Promotions, which just happened, is I think a game changer, because it'll provide a mechanism to leverage marketing dollars that corporations have earmarked for promotional goods. And instead of it just being to promote themselves, by working with Freedom Promotions and 100% of our profits going back to Literacy for All, it really gives companies especially an opportunity to enhance their corporate social responsibility just by choosing to use their marketing dollars with a company that has 100% give back like Freedom Promotions does. So really excited about that. And I don't want to focus just on the corporate side. Anybody that puts a graphic on anything, so anybody that organizes a race, school uniforms, any promotional item for any kind of event, we can do. So I feel like there's a lot of potential there.
Thank you so much for joining me. I know that you're a very busy person, so I'm so honored you took the time to talk with me on E-Train Talks. And I know that everybody listening and watching, we're all just so excited for what's to come. And we all think that you are amazing. So everybody give Brian a round of applause.
Well, thank you. So E-Train, I just want to tell you too, don't stop doing what you're doing. Don't stop believing in literacy. Don't stop reading. Don't stop being a voice. You're a great example for not just kids, but adults too. And I want to thank you as well. So thanks for having me on your show. I hope to stay in touch with you. And I'm really excited about what the future holds for you too, E-Train.
Thank you. And everybody, my guest today has been Brian Floriani, a champion for reading and literacy, as well as the founder of Bernie's Book Bank and FReadom USA. Brian is a book hero, and he strives to end book deserts by providing books to the kids who need them most, ensuring that no book and no kid is left behind. And it has just been a wonderful time talking with you, Brian. And to find out how to contribute to Brian's many worthy causes, visit his website starting with FReadom USA at freedomusa.com. And you can also follow Brian's literacy journey on Bernie's Book Bank's Twitter and also FReadom's Twitter. All their social media accounts, they're very active and sharing a lot of meaningful causes and just what's going on in the literacy world. So once again, it's been an honor talking with you, Brian. I hope we can stay in touch. And bye, everybody. Keep reading and keep promoting literacy.